Atiku Abubakar, if my memory serves me right, has never lost a primary elections except maybe to Buhari in 2015. Atiku always wins primary elections. What chances does Peter Obi stand, of clinching the ticket of the ADC?
I think the ADC is a party of clarity, of inclusion, and of progress. The party would ensure that it has the man who has the greatest of capacity, the greatest of consistency in terms of the ability to be able to show leadership.
Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo,
yes,
a strong ally of Peter Obi in 2023, came out publicly to denounce Peter Obi, that he does not have the heart, he's chicken-hearted, because he says Peter Obi is not ready to match the APC and whoever, fire for fire, money for money, brigandage, whatever, match them, because in my place there's a popular saying, we're laughing, we're meaning. It is madness they used to cure madness. Is Peter Obi ready to play, the game the way it ought to play? Is he going to be a gentleman? Is he speaking, nice man, doesn't want to step on toes?
Mr. Peter Obi is a democratic human being.
Yeah.
He's not a gentleman. For a man who has built businesses from scratch to global standard, Mr. Peter Obi is the most strongest human being, physically and mentally. You see, power and strength are two different things. Mr. Peter Obi is resolute, and I can tell you, Mr. Peter Obi is not the same person in this time and in this place. Mr. Peter Obi, I won't say he will do anything, but he will do the right thing to ensure that he takes power.
Our guest today is Dr. Moses Paul, the African Democratic Congress chairmanship candidate in the forthcoming Abuja Municipal Area Council election slated for February. Without further ado, let's get right into it. How far have you gone with your preparations, campaigns for the forthcoming AMAC elections?
I've gone far enough. I've touched the markets. I've gone to the rural areas. I've touched the estates. I've spoken to the diplomatic corps, both the British envoys and the European Union. I've spoken to the young people who are completely bereaved of what's going on in governance. I'm talking to the markets that are completely entrapped with multiple litigations. I'm talking to the business people who resides in AMAC who can barely do business because the environment for doing business is completely shrinked. I'm talking to the young people who are afraid of public safety. I'm talking to all the elderly. I'm talking to the public servants whose salaries have not been paid for months. So I'm touching base with the entire AMAC residents, my people. I've been here for about 40 years, so I understand the plight of the people, and I know what exactly needs to be done. So yes, in terms of campaign, in terms of touching base with the people, I'm doing the needful. I know what is there, I know what needs to be done, and I know what can be done for them to get out of this quagmire.
Brilliant. Two quick follow-up to that question. Number one, the FCT minister, in the eyes of, let me say, outsiders looking into FCT or visitors into FCT, they would claim he's done fantastically well. There's a lot of chest beating because visitors into Abuja or outsiders into Abuja would say, oh, the infrastructure, the road network in AMAC, in the city center, is unbelievably, well made, the flyovers, the bridges and stuff. But those in the hinterlands, the suburbs of Abuja and all of that. Now, what do you say to that? Then follow up to that is, what are the three main issues that you're campaigning on? What's your opinion on what is needed by the FCT residents that if any administration can focus on, you would have substantially improved or impacted on the lives of the people?
This is the most brilliant and the best question, especially for this forthcoming election. People are very confused. Nigerians need a raise in their consciousness where this particular context of question is concerned. I'm not running to be the minister of the FCT. I'm running to be the chairman of AMAC, Abuja Municipal Area Council. Many people do not even understand the difference. There is a difference between what is done at the federal level and what is the constitutionality of the local government. The minister is only doing what you call the big ideas, the bold pictures, what you call policy, where the implementation of some of the things I'm going to be doing are concerned. So we are not competing. There is no meeting point. There is an interface, but there's no meeting point. And I give a very clear example. While, for example, in education and health, the federal is only, based on the Constitution, is concerned with making policies at the local level. The chairman of AMAC is the one with the responsibility of rebuilding, revamping, equipping primary schools, ensuring that teachers have the tools that are required to teach, ensuring that students, the pupils, have clean environment, water, their sanitation. This job is not the job of the minister, it's the job of the chairman. That same thing goes for the primary healthcare center. These are the job, that's why it's called primary. This is at the base level. That's why sanitation, primary school, primary healthcare center, waste management, some of the things, clean water, the markets, tenement rates, these are within the constitutionality of the chairman. It has nothing to do with the minister. So many people confuse it and they think that it has something to do with the minister. Now, this is the bottom line. When you have a chairman that does not exist, there is so much concentration on the minister. So people now even think that the minister is the chairman of the area council. That is because AMAC does not exist right now in terms of performance and the responsibility to safety, to public health. That's why children are sitting down here in AMAC on the floor. I am fixing primary schools here. In Lugbe, there's a place called Kapua. In the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be carrying chairs, 50 desks. Because when I got there, children were sitting on the floor. When you go to Tungan Nasara today, the only twin toilet in that place for both the teachers and the pupils, I built it. 2 years ago, I went to a place called Tungan Madaki. Even in the primary healthcare center, there was no toilet where in the maternity place where women give birth. Right here in AMAC, I have to fix those things for them. That has nothing to do with the minister. And again, I tell you, the city center, the Maitama and the Asokoro we look at, that's not AMAC. AMAC, there's Gui, there is Kabusa, there is Jiwa, there is Guarimpa, there is Orozo, there is Karishi, there is Nyanya. All of these are part of AMAC.
So, the second question, you didn't really answer it. Give me 3 or 5 top issues. Because you've lived here, like you said, for like 40 years. I'm closer to that 40 years as well. Abuja looks shiny, like I said, the surface. But when you go into these suburbs, then you see the stark reality, more or less like a ghetto. Now, how these the tales of two worlds exist side by side, blows my mind. And you also alluded to the fact, and it's true, that all these councils only exist on paper. Yeah. The people of the FCT haven't felt their impact for decades. Your 3 to 5 topical issues?
I give it to you. I just answered the first part of the question. First and foremost, if I don't do anything, I would ensure that the value of education in the FCT is lifted. This is very close to my heart because, like I said, I went to primary school here. I was the head boy while in primary school, head boy in secondary school. All my universities were done here. When we have interactions in Harvard and in Oxford and different universities across the world, they quickly ask, did you school here? Because of the brilliance of submission. And I said, no, all my schooling was done here. 40 years later, to see primary school children sitting on the floor is not acceptable. So that's one, education. Number 2, health. When anything happens to elderly people, I know what I have to face with my uncles and elderly people who have died because the proximity to health, the first aid you get is the primary health centers. They're all in comatose. They're non-existent. I'm going to give priority to health. And then I can tell you, it's almost like, what do I do because I am big on agriculture, and that's one of the things I want to do to also help the young people and also dovetail it with security, because you see the livelihood of the people, But then again, one of the things in my hustle is like 2 in 1. I want to ensure that the rural roads are taken care of, because you see, with the rural roads, you can connect goods to the people, and also you can connect also sick people to hospitals. So these are the 3 main big stuff that are in the foreground for me.
Now, without money, none of these brilliant ideas can function, and you are in a different party from the party of the FCT minister. One of the biggest challenges between state governors, and local government chairmen has been funding. Now, how are you going to, what's your relationship like with the FCC? Are you going to pay obeisance to him? Because without money, your dreams only remain, brilliant on paper. How are you going to tackle this conundrum?
I come with a heart committed to service, but my vision is anchored on progress. What that means and what that does is that once you're committed to, when you are about result and you're about people, the power of negotiation will always be there. Leadership is about that. I can tell you, I think I'm going to have a fantastic relationship with both the minister and all those in the corridors of power because of that. And I can tell you another thing. I don't think I'm going to have any issue and problems with funding because of my understanding of the proximity to the big institutions and the big partners that AMAC has. Because even as a single person, I'm helping children in school. I'm fixing healthcare centers because, don't forget that we are signatory to many important policies like universal basic education. It allows me as a chairman to get money from other portals.
Brilliant. Now let's switch gears. Your principal, Mr. Peter Obi, has finally come to the ADC, African Democratic Congress. Of course, I'm sure you know, or you're expecting his, joining your party now to give you some sort of advantage. That is one, yes or no. Then, of course, he's joining the ADC to vie with other prominent Nigerians for the presidential ticket of the ADC. What chances does he have?
Joining the party is a big boost for me, even though he already gave...
He's going to campaign with you, I guess.
On the 1st of October, he made it clear to the whole world that he's going to be on the street with me.
Okay.
And he has been campaigning with me in any case, He's been to a couple of places with me to make, particularly donations to the health centers and education that I gave directive to. And you see, the interesting thing about politics is that politics is about timing. If I told you that my principal was going to come to the ADC on the 31st of December, it would be futile because I would have said the right thing at the wrong time. Same thing with this. I have my elections in the next 4 weeks plus. When we come to that, his chances, of course, are very big. He's one of the prolific African politicians of our time. And I've had the rare privilege to have traveled with him across the world. So I know the reception, I know the warmth, and I know the respect. So yes, I can tell you of those who are in the forefront, he has a very, very big chance.
Don't forget, he will be contesting, for that ticket with juggernauts such as the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Governor of Rivers State, former Minister for Transportation, Mr. Amaechi, and then himself, and maybe a few others. Atiku Abubakar, if my memory serves me right, has never lost a primary elections, except maybe to Buhari in 2014-2015. Atiku always wins primary elections. What chances does Peter Obi stand, of clinching the ticket of the ADC?
I think the ADC is a party of clarity, of inclusion, and of progress. The party would ensure that it has the man who has the greatest of capacity, the greatest of consistency in terms of the ability to be able to show leadership. And so I know that the ADC would not make a mistake. When the time comes, they will pick the right person for the job.
Mr. Peter Obi and Dati Babamed were being, projected as idealistic, the ideal, sort of politicians Nigerians yearn for. Now, if you now have this schism between both of them, one has left, one is back, and then now one is actually now, throwing jabs, as it were, on the other. Doesn't that send mixed messaging?
I have received a lot. You can imagine I've been in the ADC for more than 6 months before Mr. Peter Obi came into the ADC. For somebody who is an aide of his, somebody who is a partner, somebody who has had the rare privilege to have traveled the entire globe with him. I was in the ADC for months before he came. I also received a share of my own. People have said all kinds of things. He has left Mr. Peter Obi, he has done this and done that. But again, when he moved in December, many people came back again to say this. So that's the life we live, and we need to make room for all those nuances.
Another major backer of Mr. Peter Obi is Professor Patrick Utomi, who, said during Mr. Peter Obi's formal declaration for the ADC that if Peter Obi does not clinch the ADC ticket and then goes on to accept VP nomination, from whoever emerges, that he will not give him his support. Are you on that same trajectory? Do you take that same
You
position?
see, as a candidate of the ADC, I saw something that is very unique, and I think it's beautiful. So I am very close to some of the people who are with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and for them, is AA or nothing. And as somebody who is a member of this other side, my people say it is Peter Obi or nothing. I think it's healthy. That's what makes it competitive. And when we get to that bridge, that's why it's going to be, we need that expression of intentionality and tension. It heats up what you call the polity, but it's beautiful. It is out of that tension that the best man will come out for the job.
But isn't that mindset, isn't it a bit of it's a problem? Isn't it problematic? Because politics in and of itself is all about, compromises, give and take. You cannot be a hardline. You cannot take hardline positions in politics. What do you say?
I think we Nigerians are hardline people, whether you're talking about sports, whether you're talking about culture, religion, tribe, politics. It's just who we are. You need to see Nigerians argue in the beer parlor. You thought that the roof is going to break. You need to see the way we treat religion. It's the same way we treat politics. I think it's who we are as a people. What needs to happen with this trajectory and this evolution is that at the end of the day, we must ensure that the result is good.
You know why this is important? And I'll give you a couple of. Prior to 2008 US presidential elections, the contest between Barack Obama, a greenhorn, practically from nowhere, vying for the Democratic Party ticket against an establishment, candidate in Hillary Clinton. And nobody gave him a chance. But then, the primary contest was fierce.
Fierce.
Totally fierce, like a sword fight.
Absolutely.
But then Obama emerged. Of course, there were other people in the field, including, someone like Biden and all of that. But what happened after Obama emerged? He chose Hillary as his Secretary of State, chose another candidate as his VP, that's Biden, and so on and so forth. Coming back here, part of the arguments or concerns of Nigerians against the Obidients movement, I'm sure you're part of them. You're an Obidient, right?
Yes.
One of the major concerns of level-headed, matured, civilized Nigerians is the rambunctious, oftentimes, I don't want to use strong words, but you guys would, play on the edge of, uncivilized, conduct. How do you ensure, because I say it again, politics is about contestation of ideas and a spirit of give and take, clear spirit of sportsmanship. You win some, you lose some. Are you going to support whoever emerges, as a candidate of the ADC, if it's not Peter Obi? And if the offer is given to him to be VP, would you be, advising your principal to accept that offer? Tell Nigerians here, you have the opportunity.
Nigeria is one of the countries, as somebody who has a PhD in environmental resource planning, I understand the human potential and the natural potentiality of Nigeria. Nigeria is probably the only African country that can be superpower in terms of natural resources and the potential of our humanity, the number of people. Now we live in a global village.
Answer the question.
I'm going there because it's connected.
Yeah.
Nigerians are watching their counterparts all over the world going to space and doing things. Yet here, look at the generation of the Obidients movement. They are deprived, submerged, destroyed. They've completely lost out in the scheme of things as compared to their counterpart. This is why you can see the exodus of young people, brilliant minds, jackpotting out of Nigeria. And you look at that generation and you tell them to calm down. Hey Joe, dear. I think something is wrong with the people that are asking this generation to take it easy. Nnamdi Azikiwe was in his 30s.
Dr. Moses, so what you're saying, if Peter Obi does not get it, there's no show.
I'm saying that the energy of the young people must be given expression. They must find their place. I should be the president of the country at my age. Emmanuel Macron, look at the world and look at what is happening. You can't even compare him with some of the brilliant minds we have in Nigeria, but he's leading a global super world power. But you come back here. So you're looking at that power. What I'm saying to you is that Whatever it is you're saying to this group of people, I think is disingenuous to look at the most brilliant and strongest minds, not just in Africa, but in the world, and you're telling them to take it easy on what they know is possible.
Well, if you say Nigerian youths are the brilliant and strongest minds in the world, I think that's debatable. I love Nigeria. I'm a full-born Nigerian, and I love my country. And I know we're brilliant. I know we have strengths and weaknesses just like others. And for as long as Nigerian youth, refuse to do what is necessary, because this same youth you are talking so gloriously about, when time for elections come, you know what they do. They're still speaking for these people that you are, talking against. Let's switch gears back to the FCT minister. The politics of the FCT is peculiar because of the structure of the FCT, even in the constitution and all of that. What makes the FCT politics, gives it that flavor, that peculiarity? And again, give me an assessment briefly of the FCT minister's performance in the FCT.
So the FCT, particularly AMAC, is unique because it is ground zero. The president lives here. All the ministers are here. The National Assembly is here.
Yeah.
All the diaspora embassies are here. AMAC is home to hundreds of languages, as different from the other councils. So it makes this particular entity very unique, by configuration, by political setting, and by the nuances of the different people that are here. By nature, that gives it that. So it's unique, and that's why it is deserving of somebody who understands this to lead it. In terms of the FCT minister's performance, I think the records are there. If you go to the social media, people are giving the rating, and it's clear for everybody to see.
Basing performance on social media ratings, is that what you're saying?
I mean, different people have given their rating of what the FCT ministers have done. Some people say, "Oh, he's done fantastically well." Others have said,
sorry to butt in. There's a difference between hype,
yes,
and substance.
Yes.
I'm happy I'm speaking with an intellectual.
Absolutely.
There are empirical standards of assessing performance.
Yes.
So I'm asking you, especially as someone who is a stakeholder, not just a stakeholder, someone who is aspiring to, AMAC is the leading council.
It's the heartbeat.
It's the heartbeat.
Yes.
It's just like Ibejuleki, Victoria Land
Absolutely.
in Lagos.
Absolutely.
So take out AMAC from the FCT, there is no FCT.
Absolutely.
FCT is just a slum.
That's right.
AMAC is where it's at. Someone who is vying to be,
Yes.
the overlord of
Yes.
AMAC. Assess the FCT minister on empirical metrics.
On metrics. I would assess. I will assess the AMAC chairman, because that's the seat I'm vying for.
Okay.
And I can tell you, AMAC is very dirty, because the AMAC chairman is supposed to understand the institutions of waste management. I have a PhD in environmental resource planning. Waste management is a course that I undertook. I know what to do in terms of policy and implementation where that is concerned. The rural roads are completely non-passable, which has made it difficult for people to carry their goods and services. Look at the housing. Look at the demolitions that are going on without a human face put to it. We don't even know who the AMAC chairman is. So in that context, I can tell you that it does not exist in terms of performance. So I'm dealing directly with the office, which I am going to occupy and deal with. And within that context, I can tell you what is going on is not acceptable, because people can't even do business in AMAC. There are multiple double taxation. Touts are harassing people every day in AMAC. I mean, there is no human face, to AMAC. AMAC is not working. People, if your car should break down in city center, you're going to be in big trouble. Criminals and all kinds of people are going to be harassing you in the place where the minister, the president, and everybody lives. And that's why we must take care of local governance. And I say this without anything. I'm happy that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is attempting to ensure the autonomy of the local government. That's commendable. Aside from that, AMAC is not working.
It would be remiss of me if we don't touch on these two, issues. Like you said, 40 years living here. Mine is over 30 years. Two issues, and you alluded to one: the spate of demolitions in AMAC, and then allegations, not just demolitions, but seizures of people's lands, and then reallocating same to others. How do you intend to, interface with the FCT minister to ensure things are done legally within the ambit of the law? That is one. Secondly, I've lived in mega cities in the world. I've studied in the UK, I lived in New York and all of that. So I know that there is no city comparable to the FCT that does not have an integrated transport system. In the FCT, in AMAC, or anywhere in the FCT, you depend on all these, what do you call them now? This, all this private sector, individual transport systems. And that is why you have this incidence, this, high incidence of one chance that people, are kidnapped, and then some lose their lives, some become victims. You have to pay ransom to get them free. How do you have a plan for integrated transportation system to move people, from one point to the other? But then the first one is the incidence, the spate of demolitions, reallocation of lands from the original owners to others, resulting in high legal cases. Quickly.
Leadership is all about the power to negotiate for the people, on behalf of the people. As chairman, I'm going to ensure that I negotiate for what is best for them, and to use the resources that is available for each, sector, adequately, and also use my connection internationally to beef up what is required. For me, this is a starting point, and I have the requisite knowledge and experience to be able to negotiate and help the people get what is best for them, either directly from the minister or the president or the big institutions that are available. I know I would do that. I'm already doing that at individual level, and I will do that as chairman of AMAC.
Okay, let's go back to...
And then you talked about the demolitions and things that are going on. It's the same thing. You have to fight for the people. I can assure you as chairman, some of the things happening will not happen because I will stand in for them. That is a given.
That would be nice. Let's go back to the Obidients movement. Critics have said, you guys have burnt out. You've lost steam. The fire that drove that movement. No, let me finish. The fire that drove the passion, the energy. I love the word energy. That's what the Gen Z say. The energy that drove that movement. Prior to 2023 general elections. I guess maybe because of the disillusionment from the loss. Many Obidients actually still believe, that Mr. Peter Obi won the elections. How? Whatever justifications, then they don't have any beyond, just rhetoric. Are you able to galvanize the Obidients to help you in this, your AMAC chairmanship elections? And is it true that the Obidients has lost, they've lost it?
You see, that's why I'm grilling and smiling, because on one hand, they say, oh, they are cursing. They are saying, oh, it's Obi or nothing. You are saying, no, you guys have to play politics. And then on the others, at the same time, they are saying they have lost him, or they are not there anymore. No, I think the Obidient came to limelight at the 2023 at the corridor of election. See what is going to happen in the next 4 weeks. The Obidient are bent on coming out. I can't even sleep because of the energy of the Obidient movement. They are rising up everywhere that I go to in the FCT. They are saying, Dr. Mo, don't worry. We're going to watch the ballots. We're going to defend the votes. And the results must be announced. It can't be written. So watch out for what the Obedients are going to do. They are still the energy, the center part of the country. And I tell you what, when we speak of obedience, we're not just speaking of a class of people. The obedient is anchored on accountability, on transparency. They're the people who have said, we want the best of us to lead the rest of us. And they're going to show their strength and power. They're already behind me on this, and they're going to show that, yes, they own the time, they own the space, and they want a new AMAC and a new Nigeria that is possible.
The FCT minister has his own candidate in this race.
I don't know about that.
He has his own candidate.
I don't know about that.
He belongs to a political party.
But on 2 occasions, I saw him. How do you openly chastise your own in the public space? He told, he's there for the record. He said, stop naming the streets that I am building. Oh, he made a reference to when he was chairman over, I think 10 years ago in Obiapo or somewhere like that.
That was more than 20 years ago.
You can imagine that. And I think it was appalling when he said if you, allegedly, according to you, he said you can't even provide vehicles for the police. And that's why I said, remember I said something that they twisted. I said, if the FCT minister is Mr. Project, then he will be supporting a candidate that is Mr. Project, because I am fixing schools right here in the FCT. I'm fixing healthcare centers here in the FCT. So tell me, Mr. Project, who do you think is the candidate of Mr. Project?
I still ask you, he has his own candidate in this race. What are your chances against the FCT minister's candidate? One sentence.
The people are behind me.
The people.
The deprived people. The people are angry. And they are saying they want a new system. Not only do they want a new system, they're not even voting based on party, religious, or tribal lines. They've said, we want somebody who has the vision, the mission, to lift education, to lift healthcare centers, to lift our livelihood, to give a direction to our children and young people and the elderly and the women. And they found that in Dr. Moses Paul. So I can tell you categorically that the elections are already won. I am the next AMAC chairman.
Let's do scenario. Mr. Peter Obi clinches the ADC presidential ticket. So he will be running against a moving train in the incumbent president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What are his chances in 2027?
You know, I pray that the institutions of governance do what is right. In my heart, I can't live anywhere else.
Mention these institutions.
INEC,
Okay.
the military,
Okay.
the police, the DSS, the EFCC, the vigilantes, all of these institutions play a specific...
What about the Nigerian youths that go collect 20,000, 30,000 to vote against, people like Mr. Peter Obi or whoever? What do you say? That's part of... Or you don't think that's a problem?
No, but in 2023, we saw how the young people were beaten. Some died. In Lagos State, for example, many of the young people were whipped out of their...
And these were done by who?
They were done by...
The same youth.
No, but you see, we have to also contextualize this. Yes, there is no doubt that we have some youths that are owned. Money politics will always play, whether home or abroad, and it's our prayer that we move from this trajectory. It's really painful. It's really, it's saddening. This is important for me to say because it is young people that gave us independence. It is young people that fought the civil war. Don't forget that all the people that fought for a nation, they were all in their 20s. Yakubu Gowon was in his 20s. Samadu Bello, these were all young people.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo.
Yes.
A strong ally of Peter Obi in 2023, came out publicly to denounce Peter Obi, that he does not have the heart. He's chicken-hearted. Because he says Peter Obi is not ready to match the APC and whoever. Fire for fire, money for money, brigande, whatever. Match them. Because in my place there's a popular saying, we're laughing, we're meaning. It is madness they used to cure madness. Is Peter Obi ready to damn the consequences, of course, within the law, but go all out against to get what he wants? Because see, this is African politics. You saw Yoweri Museveni in Uganda. He just clinched his 7th whatever and is going in at... So is Peter Obi ready to play, the game the way it ought to play? Is he going to be a gentleman? Is he speaking, nice man, doesn't want to step on toes?
Mr. Peter Obi is a democratic human being.
Yeah.
He's not a gentleman. For a man who has built businesses from scratch to global standard, who raised Anambra State to where it is today in terms of health and education, laid a base, took education from number 27 to number 1 in the country. The same thing with health. He got cards and accolade from the Melinda Bill Gates Institution. In fact, Magnus Sparkle, who was the debt management, whatever then, including the police, they came out to say during Mr. Peter Obi's reign, Anambra was safest. Anambra did not borrow anything, yet education and everything was moved. I think that's a very resolute human being. You see, what we do in this country is very dangerous. We want touts and young people who take money, who kidnap. We talk about them as bad. But we want these same people, when it comes to the place of leadership, we want to see those same attributes that have deranged and has brought our country down. We want to see leaders like that. We want to see leaders that are tough, who demolish people's houses without a human face. We want to see brigandage as leaders, and yet at the same time we want a place that will grow. Now this is where people like myself come in, because Mr. Peter Obi is the most is the most strongest human being, physically and mentally. You see, power and strength are two different things. Strength is the ability to restrain. I know that I can finish you, but I look at you and restrain because I'm much stronger than you. Most of the time, loud-mouthed people. And that's why when you give them position, they just go all over the place making noise. For those people, when you give them one dirty slap, they just go and sit down because they have no strength. Mr. Peter Obi is resolute. And I can tell you, Mr. Peter Obi is not the same person.
Yes.
In this time and in this place. Mr. Peter Obi, I won't say he will do anything, but he will do the right thing to ensure that he takes power.
Power is not served a la carte. And this is African politics. Power in Africa, the dimension of power, the contestation for power is a different
I would say it's not
animal.
served a la carte.
Yeah.
I would say power is never given.
Absolutely.
Power must be taken.
Absolutely.
But how we take power, we can go either the way of anarchy or we can go in the way of merit. And I would always say, go in the way of merit. Ensure inclusion, ensure democratic, institutional, process.
Ensure playing by the rules.
Playing by the rules. Because if we don't do that, we're not going to have a country.
Thank you,
What
Dr.
we have
Moses.
today and why people are complaining is because we're taking power the wrong way.
Thank you, Dr. Moses.
Thank you,
It's been
sir.
a brilliant conversation.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
wish you all the best.